Maserati Levante. From £60, 2306. Italian firm's larger SUV competes in a much tougher segment than when it first entered. How's it coping? Design and styling. First off, the Levante still looks impactful. Styling is subjective, of course, but it seems this is an SUV that stays pretty close to Maserati's DNA, however contrived the marketing bump feels when it links that dominating grille to the old birdcage race car. The Levante sits on a strengthened version of the platform beneath the soon-to-be discontinued Ghibli and Quattroporte saloons. Expect the largest selling Levante to soldier on for longer before a fully electric replacement lands. For now, all versions hook up a smart ZF 8-speed automatic gearbox to rear-biased Q4 four-wheel drive, while there's air suspension across the range, with double wishbones at the front and a 5-link arrangement at the rear. Interior. Putting the Levante's interior under the microscope is an undertaking that's as exasperating as it is delightful. On the face of things, Maserati seems to have worked hard to create a space that looks and feels not just upmarket but alternatively so, to imbue a distinct sense of identity, richness, luxury and flair next to the more serious, purposeful interiors of rivals from Porsche or Audi. There's real character here, and those of us with even a few droplets of petrol in our veins will whoop with delight at a car hanging tenaciously onto gorgeous analog dials. Not least if you've opted for the V8, and thus have a real enthusiasm for chasing the 7,000 RPM red line to fully utilize them. The row of climate controls immediately below might work well from an ergonomic point of view, but, as with so much of the switchgear, it lacks the tactile appeal and material richness expected for the price. The Levante makes use of Maserati's Touch Control Plus, MTC Plus, infotainment system, which is effectively a reskinned version of the old FCA Uconnect setup. This means an 8.4 inches touchscreen is the main means of interacting with and controlling the majority of the Levante's functions, which include sat-nav, heated seats and steering wheel, DAB radio and Bluetooth connectivity. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility are also included as standard. While the operating system itself is easy enough to learn, it's not always quite as slick as you would expect a near £80,000 car's infotainment suite to be. There can be a noticeable delay when switching between menus, and the graphics for the sat-nav aren't outstanding. The Levante's 710mm compares with 740mm for the Range Rover and 790mm for the Porsche. Admittedly, 4 adults will fit comfortably, but Maserati's packaging efforts still seem questionable. This is especially true when you look at boot space, as, somehow, it's the Maserati that trails again. With the rear seats in place, the Levante has a 580-litre boot. The Porsches and the Range Rovers, meanwhile, are 745 and 784 litres respectively. For the most part, the Levante avoids feeling like an FCA parts bin haul, but not always. Engines and performance. The bald performance figures of the Levante are not to be sniffed at. The GT hybrid kicks off the range, albeit above £90,000 these days, and does so as a mild hybrid. That means there's no plugging it in overnight to whisper silently from home the next day. Its belt-integrated starter generator recovers energy under braking and deceleration to charge a boot-mounted battery. Its 325 brake horsepower peak and 6.0 seconds, 0-62 miles per hour time place it roughly where the entry V6 used to sit, while the more potent, 424 brake horsepower V6 powered Modena sits around £20,000 higher and cuts the 0-62 miles per hour time to 5.2 seconds while emitting a more scintillating sound. That said, we're yet to sample the entry car, and its lighter engine ought to sharpen initial cornering response. Purists with deep pockets would likely beeline straight for the V8, though, a 572 brake horsepower 3.8-litre twin-turbo unit derived from Ferrari. Having put in several years' service in the Levante Trofeo, it now bows out in V8 Ultima Special Edition form. There's no extra performance, but fancier trim and plaques abound. It hits 62 miles per hour in less than 4.0 seconds and sounds rather brilliant, if not quite as soulful as the naturally aspirated V8S of Maserati's old. There is enough torque and traction here, however, to send the Levante to 60 miles per hour in just 5.1 seconds, to 100 miles per hour in less than 13 seconds, and from 30-70 miles per hour through the gears in only 4.5 seconds. In every case, those figures make this car an almost perfect match for a V8 diesel-powered Audi Q7 on kickdown pace and a league quicker than the Levante diesel we tested in 2016. The Ferrari-assembled, twin-turbocharged, narrow-angle V6 is of a different engine family than the one in Alfa's current crop of cloverleaf offerings, but it has a similarly elastic, urgent and free revving power delivery that rewards the occasional excursion to 6,000 RPM, yet also makes quicker progress easy in the middle of the rev range. It sounds discreetly exotic and well-bred, with a sporting cutting edge that adds just enough spice to the audible recipe. The 8-speed automatic gearbox shifts with judicious timing indeed, and that it could be a touch quicker in manual mode is a little disappointing but easy enough to forgive, given how smoothly it generally operates. So friends, that's a little information that we can summarize. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share for other latest video updates. Thanks for watching.